After my father died when I was 9 years old, I remember very carefully watching the adults around me. And it was really clear, really quickly, that none of us had any idea what to do about this. As a young boy, I didn't even have any real sense of what I wanted or what would have been helpful or what might have mattered. But I could tell for sure that it wasn't going to come from any of the people around me. These are people I had lived around all my life, and we had a kind of polite routine, which worked when everything was kind of okay, but which totally collapsed and revealed its shallowness and its awkwardness when faced with something that just didn't seem okay on any level at all. Many years later, when I was on my way to serve time in federal prison, it could be said that nothing in my life seemed okay. I had made the most spectacularly stupid set of mistakes, and I had compromised myself, my family, my community. I had raised millions of dollars based on foolish promises and beliefs that turned out to be complete fluff and complete illusion. I had functionally taken money from people who had worked hard all their lives to save it. I had blown up my so-called good name and my standing in the community and my career, and I was going to prison. And I could tell the way people looked at me, how freaked out people were, and that there was nothing they felt like they could say or do, and that there seemed once again to be nothing okay about this situation, and nothing that anyone could do to make it better. And when I went to prison, strangely, as soon as I got away from the community where I had committed these crimes and carried out this foolishness, something began to relax even before I quite knew what was relaxing. The pressure to be a certain way, or the pressure for things to be okay, or the pressure to explain or show how I was making progress on making things better, just wasn't there as much in prison. And so things began to be a little bit easier, even though nothing had really changed externally in the circumstances and all the problems that I had created. But with so much not being okay, I kind of had to learn to look to see whether there was something that was okay, even when everything seemed to not be okay. Really, really not okay. And as I've said in other videos here, this didn't happen quickly, but slowly over time, as I sat in my prison cell, as I walked the track with my fellow inmates, as I learned about life inside the razor wire fences, I did begin to find that there's something in me, something in life, something about life that really is okay, even when things are not, or do not appear to be. There was no longer any way to try to make efforts to make things okay, to get things to a good place where I could finally breathe and relax. There was not going to be any making this okay in the external world. Excuse me. I was not going to be able to pay people back. I was not going to be able to undo the foolish things that I had done. I was not going to be able to fulfill promises that I had made. So I had to learn to discover the okayness, the peace that can actually be there even when everything has been completely destroyed, even when nothing on the external appears to be going the way one would normally want it to be when we say, yeah, things are good, things are going well, this is happening, and I'm making progress on this. None of that was happening. I was sitting in prison, and I had to go deeper, and I had to find the place. I didn't have to find the place, but I began to find this place where there was a peacefulness, even when nothing got any better. That I could be in my body, that I could be present with myself, that I could relate to my fellow inmates and to the officers and to the whole life of being in prison. I could relate to that, and I could be okay with that. And strangely, it took coming to the place where nothing was okay, to realize that there is this way that no matter what, everything is okay. You can explain this in psychological terms, perhaps, or spiritual terms, or whatever, but it wasn't theoretical for me. It was an experience. It was just okay when I sat in my cell and talked with one of my fellow inmates who used to come visit with me and ask questions, and talking what it was like to grow up Black in, I think it was Dorchester near Boston, and what it was like to grow up in a family where his father tried to kill him while he was still in his mother's womb. And both of us were okay. We made friends. We enjoyed our conversations. I appreciated what I learned from him. He appreciated that somebody listened to him and made space for him to talk about things that he'd never talked about in his life. Not only was it okay, it had a beauty to it and a peacefulness to it and a kind of just rightness, that here we were in this moment, just two human beings being together. So even though it wasn't what I expected, and even though it certainly wasn't the way I would draw things up, I had this experience of finding this peacefulness, this okayness at the most devastating time of my life. And I still did somewhat, but I didn't look as much to external things to validate myself or say, okay, this good thing happened, so now things really are okay and they're going in the right direction. Things just went in whatever direction they went. And I began to learn on a feeling level in my body that things could be okay no matter what. And as I watch what's happening in the world around us right now, at least in our culture, in the U.S., and in so many ways that I am not as familiar with, but certainly hear about around the world, where so much is collapsing and so much just seems wrong, and there's so much untruth and pain and suffering and so much deceit and so many things that have kind of worked collapsing, and so many institutions that we've counted on, educational institutions, political systems, financial systems. Well, we're safe because we've got money in the bank or money in the stock market or whatever. So many of these things are just collapsing, and they're not working, and they're not providing reassurance, and they're not providing a sense of okayness in the same way that they used to. And so people are naturally, as human beings, we want things to be okay. We want security. We want to know that we're going to survive, that we're going to be all right no matter, that we're going to be all right. And so naturally, people are, at a time of collapse, people are trying to shore up what's collapsing. They're trying to address the societal collapse that's happening in our country, either by working in political or human service work, or trying to save our democracy, or whatever, trying to make things okay externally so that we can be okay internally, to just be and to live our lives and to go forward with a kind of safety, even if that safety is actually an illusion. And so from this experience, this inner experience, this personal experience of finding the okayness in the worst experiences of my life, I just encourage people. It may be important to do the political work we're doing. It probably is. I do it. I speak out about these things. I talk to friends. I follow the political situation and respond to it as best I can. But our lives are not going to be okay because we fix the externals. That's not how things work. I've been watching politics since I was less than 10 years old. And I've seen so many politicians and Democratic Congresses and Republican Congresses and presidents come and go, and big promises and big changes and hope and change and all kinds of things. And when I was in prison, there were some minor prison reforms, but life in prison didn't change very much. The guys who were going to be in there for life were in there for life. Even with, this was during the time when Obama was in office, and there were some minor changes and even important changes that were being made in the world, but they didn't affect what was happening in prison. Only for a few people who were released early. And, Democrats would come and go, Republicans would come and go, MAGA came and MAGA left, and then MAGA was back again. All these things that we're trying to change externally are not going to bring us to the place, that deeper, quieter place where we realize, oh, all these seemingly terrible things and truly terrible things, really hurtful things, destructive things, and even cataclysmic things, wildfires and natural disasters happening all around us. Even with that going on, something here is okay. I can be peaceful right now in the midst of that. And it's not about putting a smiley face on or faking it. It's not about putting more makeup, a heavy layer of makeup on a aging an unhappy face. It's not about that. It's not about faking it. It's about stopping and going deeper. And in that going deeper, being willing to feel how things are not okay, feeling the pain of our personal situation, feeling the pain of our cultural situation, feeling the pain of living in a country that once seemed like it was great and is now collapsing, living in a world where so many disasters and so many political situations are so problematic and so volatile. Even in the midst of all that, there is this okayness. And that okayness is revealed not by faking it, not by pretending it, not by hearing this video and saying, okay, now I'm going to be okay with things. It's about a willingness to completely be with what is not okay, to face our own pain, our own hypocrisy, our own delusions, to face it, to embrace it, to find acceptance for ourselves, for our delusion, our folly, our imperfections. And in that process, through that process, sometimes dramatically, sometimes slowly and almost imperceptibly, we can begin to realize that there is always this place of peacefulness, always this place where everything is okay. As I think it was Christ who said, all is well, no matter what. And again, it's not in the externals. It's not in faking it. It's about the willingness to go deeper through the layers of not okayness, through the pain, to the place where everything truly is, now, always was, and always will be okay. Thank you for listening. I'm not good at asking people to like and subscribe, but it does help, apparently, if you like and subscribe, if you appreciate what you're watching here, to like and subscribe and to comment. That does apparently tell the YouTube algorithm that people are engaging with this, and it will put it before more people. Thanks so much for coming to watch. I'll see you again soon.